Hi, I'm Keegan Gerhard. I'm here at the NRA 2013 show in the Advanced Gourmet booth. And I've been walking the show looking for interesting new developments in technology and equipment. And I got to tell you, this HotmixPRO is something that really caught my attention. Now, probably to you, thermo cooking, thermo mixing, blending, agitating is not a new thing. There's machines that have been out there a while. Thermomix is a very popular one. But I have some challenges as a professional chef with that piece of equipment. And what I need is a little bit more control, especially in agitation, and more importantly in temperature. HotmixPRO goes to 190 Celsius. What does that mean to you? As a pastry chef in particular, it means that you can do caramelization. We're talking about 374 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a huge difference. And also, not only does it go hotter, but you have control of the temperature, not in 10 degrees Celsius increments, but instead, degree by degree Celsius. This is very important. If you're a chef or you're a pastry chef, you know that 86 and 89 degrees Celsius are not the same thing. So this can heat, this can stir, this can process, this can agitate. So you could even temper chocolate in it if you wanted to. You could bring it up to the temperature, you could let it rotate, and I'll talk about a couple of other features in a moment called weight and next that gives you even more temperature control. So yes, you could in fact eliminate all the crystallization and couverture, bring it down, mount it with more chocolate, and actually temper and walk away, never be involved in the process. Let's take a peek at the actual machine. Big problem with Thermomix. You do something like risotto, or we just caramelize nuts. So if we hit caramel, you know that machine was like 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Guess what? I can put my hand right on it. There's no safety issues, there's no health concerns, right? I can put my hand on it. Why? Because the heating is happening on the inside. So as a blender cap, it's a portion cup, also an ability just like a blender to add more product on the inside. But as you see, here is the bowl. The induction heating is happening in this machine indirectly, and that's a big, big deal. What does that mean to you as a chef? Guess what? Now you can get more than one cup. You don't have to use the same cup to replace a Thermomix cup. Is very expensive. This is much less expensive. Suddenly you can do back-to-back-to-back recipes, right? Because you have one for this recipe, you got another bowl set up for another recipe, then in fact it can even be stored inside. So this is a little interesting attachment that is very important. Inside you see a typical blade that you might see in a processor, a high-end processor or a thermomixer, even a blender. But how do you stir? How do you agitate? Well, there's attachments and they simply drop right on. Now you're able to stir intermittently. You're able to add the spatula attachment, scrape the sides if need be. This attachment's even for cutting meat. So let's talk about power. A couple of big differences in this machine and other machines. The RPM rate of this machine, 12,500 RPM, is huge speed. Only about 10,000 on other machines and not even close. The power itself, 1,500 watts versus a maximum of 1,200 watts from other machines. So you're talking about more power, you're talking about more RPM, and that's what allows you to chop, process, agitate, or emulsify. The more RPM you can get, the better emulsification that you can achieve. And when you can achieve it with heat, control, degree by degree, now you're getting somewhere. And the next two are a little bit technical, so bear with me. Listen, most chefs don't program anything. Most of us just use the 4 recipes we use every single day. We know it in our head. We do what we need to do. But when you want to talk about cutting down labor and being efficient with a piece of equipment, you got to have your cook with the lowest skill level be just as successful on this machine as you are, as I am, right? I always say that. I'm only as good as my weakest link in my chain, right? So if the great little enthusiastic stage from culinary school can come over here and caramelize nuts because it's programmed to do so exactly, now we're talking about real efficiency and labor savings, right? And not only is there programmability, because there's an SD card, an SD memory card in here already programmed with 250 recipes. Beyond that, you can add your own recipes. It has a record mode. So when I'm the irritable chef that doesn't know how I do it, I just do it. You record what I did. Now you recreate that recorded method and then you just put in Keegan #1 program. And that's my program for fluid gel, for example. Fluid gel is one of the things I've been wanting to do in a Thermomix for a long time. It can't really do it. Doesn't have the power and doesn't have the temperature control, because agar, being a non-thermal reversible item, is tricky, right? We all know this. So this machine with the programmability and the SD card and the record feature is huge advantage. I'll get to the weight and the next modes. So I'm gonna make pastry cream. A classic pastry cream doesn't have any kind of fat added to emulsify at the end. Mine does. I add butter. So this machine allows you to cook exactly to the temperature. It allows it to pause. It allows it to stir. It allows it to sit and wait and mix at a certain temperature, i.e. the caramelized nuts, right? But what about lowering it to 45 and then being able to add butter in and then emulsify that? Now we can. With the weight feature, it holds it at a certain temperature. It can stir intermittently if we wanted to. We have 2 pulse options, pulse 1 and pulse 2. This could be used either when, say, making a pesto where it's high RPM, but you know a lot of the product is up top and not getting processed. It will pulse, it will stop, the product falls back down to where the processing blades are, it comes back on, it processes more. Now you're talking about true homogenization, true emulsification, right? In more delicate recipes like pastry things, like bavaroise and pastry cream, you're talking about the ability to get things to temperature that you need, like a bavaroise where whipped cream needs to be folded in at 45 degrees Celsius or below. It achieves this too, all while you're not standing there. This is a thermal mixing machine called HotmixPRO that's made for chefs. It's not for fooling around at home. If you're serious about the capabilities of thermal mixing, you need to take a look at HotmixPRO. It's one of the best pieces of equipment I've seen at this show.